City officials say West Baltimore residents can now safely use water. FOX45 examines the mayor's administration's communication breakdown throughout the crisis.
A child should not be slammed on the floor.
Baltimore City schools sued after the mother of a child with special needs says her son was mistreated. Coming up, why school leaders are not answering our questions.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 Morning News.
Good morning. We begin with a live look out at Towson with a muggy, can barely even see it, start to your weekend. Thanks for being here on this Saturday, September 10th. I'm Rebecca Pryor. Let's get right to your forecast. Here's meteorologist Amy Aronson live from Fleet Week. Amy, how's it going? Oh, sounds like we don't have Amy yet, but we will get to her later. Now, in a city in crisis, we begin with West Baltimore's ongoing water crisis and some welcome news for those living in the impacted areas.
We have found no further evidence of contamination and can assure our residents that water is now safe to use throughout the small advisory area and the initial impact zone.
The Department of Public Works says water samples from more than 100 locations have all come back clean, and the entire system has been flushed. But several Baltimore residents still don't trust the water, many of them fuming over the city's lack of urgency and keeping them updated throughout the process. Fox 45's Mackenzie Frost is demanding answers from the mayor following several apparent communication breakdowns.
There are still a lot of questions about when the Department of Public Works learned about the contamination and then told the public. Mayor Brandon Scott is defending his administration's response to it, but now we have Councilman Earl Costello and several others calling for an investigative hearing, demanding city leaders come before the members of the city council to talk about it.
Another day and more West Baltimoreans picking up water after E. coli contamination in their water. This process running smoothly. But getting information about the contaminated water to the public was not. And for the Department of Public Works, an agency with a $600 million budget, this issue, just the latest black eye. We pressed Mayor Brandon Scott about what happened.
But it seems to be that it's a department plagued with problems, perhaps mismanaged. And I know that a lot of people we've talked to say that they want to see some sort of accountability when it comes to how this, especially this situation, was handled. Communication seemed to be bungled. How do you plan to make sure that the community sees that someone is held accountable for this?
So again, Mackenzie, there was no misbundling of communication. You weren't here the other day, but we laid that out, that we follow the protocol of how you communicate and how you have to, MD has to say to DPW, yes, you can say this at this time. That was followed. We're going to follow every rule and every regulation. And when you're talking about an issue like this, again, this wasn't something that DPW mismanaged. They found out the water had this in it because they did the testing. This wasn't someone else telling us.
So you're satisfied with how the situation was handled top to bottom from everyone involved?
So I haven't even had a chance to breathe yet, Mackenzie. You should ask me that question in about 2 or 3 days as I go back and do analysis myself.
The mayor's confidence not felt by everyone in City Hall.
Yeah, it's beyond unacceptable.
Councilman Earl Costello says he, along with 4 other members, will hold an investigative hearing next week to get some answers from the people at the top.
To get into, the entire timeline around this event, what went wrong, what went right, and how we're going to ensure that the things that went wrong aren't going to happen again. There's no scenario in which any of that is okay, or in which DPW is tweeting at, 7 in the morning on Labor Day and is not putting out, follow-up communication until 9.5 hours later.
Especially when there are questions about how fast DPW started telling people after getting the green light from the state.
Did they give you the okay on Sunday, though?
They gave us an okay Sunday night, and we immediately began through midnight. Our team worked throughout that entire evening and that morning to create a message.
So it's safe to say that MDE told you guys to take action Sunday night, and then we didn't get the message until Monday?
No, again, they work with MDE through Sunday night and through tonight about what was going to happen and when it was going to happen, how it was going to happen. Again, nothing that DPW has done has been out of step with MDE.
I understand the need to follow all regulatory standards, whether that's from the state, the federal government, whether it's following local, state, or federal law. But again, there is not an excuse for that lack of communication, that gap in 9 hours on Labor Day, not finding out about it until Monday morning when we had test results on Saturday, and then we had confirmed test results, again, to ensure it wasn't a false positive on Sunday. That's not okay. That gap should not exist.
DPW Director Jason Mitchell, one of the highest paid people in Baltimore government, earning $245,000 on the job for just over a year. Mitchell leading the department riddled with concerns from trash and recycling pickup problems, embattled wastewater treatment plant that's now utilizing state oversight because of the issues, to soaring water bills. And now people in Baltimore coming out of another crisis, left wondering what could be next.
The investigative hearing scheduled for next Thursday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, although Councilman Costello says the official resolution will be introduced Monday during the council meeting. In Baltimore, Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.
Now that brings us to our question of the day. Do you think Mayor Brandon Scott holds city agencies accountable? So far, 97% of you say no. Go to foxbaltimore.com/vote to make your voice heard. And this is far from the first mistake to come from DPW. In March of this year, state environmental officials came in and took control of the city-owned Back River wastewater treatment plant in Dundalk. Residents complained about solids floating in Back River. Fox 45 News has also heard from several residents over the past several years with water bills in the thousands with no clear reason why. The city has said some of these residents have had past due bills, but the majority of residents we've spoken with point to broken pipes. A viewer shared this video with Fox 45 News this afternoon showing what appears to be DPW workers picking up only half of this home's trash before driving away. If you see something similar, send it in to us via Chime In. Fox 45 reached out to DPW for an explanation. We have not heard back. Coming up, did Americans have more fun in 2021 compared to previous years? Why the federal government is saying yes.
And we are looking at a beautiful morning here on Broadway Pier at Fells Point, where Fleet Week is underway. Coming up next, I'll let you know the best time to come check out all the Fleet Week festivities. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local all morning.
Welcome back. We have new details after a Cecil County family of 5 was found shot dead inside their Elk Mills home along Hebron Court. The sheriff's office tells Fox 45 News that 3 children and 2 adults were found in rooms throughout the house. We're told the father called 911 to report his wife and 3 kids were killed. Deputies arrived. He was dead as well, a gun next to him.
There's not a public safety concern as far as it going outside of this, so the community is, there is none of that concern. It's grief. It's tragic and terrible, and it takes a long time for people to process.
The sheriff's office is still working on notifying family members. Once that's done, they will share who the victims are. And it is a beautiful start to your Saturday morning. Coming up next, Weathermaker is already heading to Baltimore. Meteorologist Amy Aronson tracking those storms and more in her full Weather Authority forecast. Welcome back. In today's Addicted America segment, a 17-year-old is behind bars in Mobile, Alabama, after officials say he gave his 15-year-old girlfriend pills laced with fentanyl. The 17-year-old now being charged with manslaughter and for distributing a controlled substance. Lisa LeBrenjack from our Sinclair sister station in Alabama joins us now live with more.
And we want to get the word out that if you're dealing in anything that may have fentanyl in it, we're coming for you.
Chief Deputy Paul Birch with the Mobile County Sheriff's Office says federal partners are on board with this, ensuring that those committing these offenses will serve a significant amount of time. As for the 17-year-old now behind bars for allegedly giving his 15-year-old girlfriend, Adriana Taylor, fentanyl-laced pills, Birch says this.
I think it's safe to say he had been distributing. It's still early on to determine his exact involvement, where he is in the hierarchy of the distribution of this substance. But again, we'll get to where we want to get.
The death of Taylor, who went to Mary G. Montgomery High School, is now causing local activists to sound the alarm even more.
We are seeing these type of incidents increase at alarming rates.
Virginia Guy is the executive director of the Drug Education Council.
We want all parents, grandparents, educators, anybody talking to young people that it is so dangerous to take anything that they've gotten from somebody else.
The sheriff's office is now waiting on the official toxicology report to come back to learn exactly what drug Taylor took.
If we were able to link other overdoses back to him, and he could face those charges as well. And there are several cases that we're going back to look at that, before fentanyl got to be such a, dominant, item on the market here now.
And meteorologist Amy Aronson is live in Fells Point this morning. It looks like a beautiful morning out there. She joins us live with a look at your Fleet Week forecast. Amy?
Yeah, that's right, Rebecca. And how lucky am I to be joined by a fellow meteorologist actually this morning. Casey Gahn is with us from the Navy. And I want you to introduce yourself to everybody here in Baltimore.
Hey, good morning. I'm Commander Casey Gahn. I'm the commanding officer of the National Naval Ice Center located in Suitland, Maryland. I represent Navy Meteorology and Oceanography. Our headquarters is in Stennis Space Center, Mississippi.
That's awesome. And you're going to be spending the morning with us, telling a little bit about your knowledge / what you're doing here.
Yes, we're really excited to be here. We've been up here all week interacting with the Baltimore family and representing the Navy, and it's just been awesome. We've been welcomed so much. We got to go to the ball game last night. It was great.
That is awesome. Okay, well, we look forward to learning more as the morning continues. But right now, we're going to hop into this beautiful forecast. What a nice day to come out and participate in Fleet Week festivities. I'm going to start you off with a look at the Inner Harbor, actually more of a bird's eye view. And you can see things look pretty. You can see that yellow glow. We're seeing a little bit of sun mixed in with the clouds. If we take a look at where our numbers are at, temperatures are starting off in the low 60s right now. Clouds will return as the day continues and eventually some showers. And then tomorrow, things really go downhill. That's when we are tracking our next weather maker and our next chance for some rain. And if we take a peek at where that weather maker is coming from, you'll see that cold front off to our west, plus some moisture off to our south. Both are going to merge together and head our direction. Also, I hope you noticed that hurricane off our coast. Yeah, that's Hurricane Earl. Not going to be a major issue for us locally, just causing some issues along the shoreline today. Some coastal flooding could be an issue there, along with some rough surf. Meanwhile, high pressure still in control right now, keeping us cloud-free, but you'll notice the clouds are trying to fade in from the west and eventually will take over today. Here's a look at that coastal flood threat. It runs along the shoreline from Harford County down through Baltimore City into Anne Arundel County. That will continue through later this morning, so be prepared for some high water there. Now let's talk about the rest of your day. Clouds will be on the increase, but you'll notice we stay rain-free. Perfect for all the Fleet Week festivities happening in Baltimore and all around the area. Low 80s, that's where we're headed today. As we head into your Saturday night, you'll see a couple of showers trickle on in. That's the green little blotches you're seeing here on Future Scan. They increase in coverage as we get into your Saturday night and especially by Sunday. Tomorrow, that's when they become more likely. We get pockets of moderate rain at times as we head through midday. It's going to be a day where you need the rain gear if you're going to be out and about doing anything. Umbrellas, rain jackets, great idea. These showers will linger Sunday night and actually continue through Monday. A couple of unsettled days coming up. That means enjoy what we have on tap today. It's going to be nice. We start off with a mix of clouds and sun. We see more clouds this evening with highs in the low 80s. And by tomorrow, here comes the rain, unfortunately. Some showers and some storms by the afternoon and by the evening hours on Sunday, making for kind of a messy finish to your weekend. And these showers and storms will actually linger not only Sunday, but into Monday. So Monday starts off pretty messy, too. This weather maker will gradually push out of here by Tuesday. At that point, we wrap up with a couple of showers. And the rest of the week looks drier and actually more seasonable. You'll notice we've got another long little stretch of the low 80s coming up, and that will take us all the way through week's end. So, Rebecca, we're going to continue hanging out here by this big ship. I also wanted to mention this ship that you're seeing behind me here. This is actually a Canadian ship that was berthed here in Fells Point. So a local connection, and now it's back for everybody to come see if they want to participate in Fleet Week.
And it looks like a great day to go out and see it. Thanks so much, Amy.
Perfect day.
Now, topping your consumer news, after spending 2020 cooped up in the first year of the pandemic, American consumers splurged in 2021. The federal government reports they spent an average of nearly $3,600 on entertainment alone in 2021. That's up 22.7% from 2020 and surpasses 2019 levels by more than 15%. The amount U.S. consumers spent on items like campers, boats, concert tickets, sporting events, pets, toys, and TVs in 2021 is the highest on record. And we are checking in on our favorite hippos, Fritz and Fiona, the latest shenanigans from the siblings still to come. But first, we are getting you ready for the first NFL weekend of the season, who our teammates think will be victorious on Sunday. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning.
We are back for another season of Pigskin Predictions. Football start this week, and we're ready to go. So I've been at this pigskin game for more than a decade now, but my first guest of the season is new to the game, so we've got to break you in a little bit.
Are you going to be gentle?
No, not at all.
I knew you were
This
say
is
that.
cutthroat football.
Okay, let's
here.
go. Okay.
Mark Clark, the newest addition to the family, host of Be More Lifestyle, and of course you see him on our morning show as well. He is my challenger for this week's Pigskin Predictions. Can you take the heat?
She's going down.
Oh, he can take the heat.
She's
well,
going
then,
down.
Let's go. I
don't
was
care
going to be
about
nice.
the purple dress.
Yeah, where's your purple?
I
You're
know.
already off to a bad start.
Well, you know.
See? No, I know. Do you know is the question. All right, Baltimore Ravens at New York Jets.
I'm going to go with the Ravens, of course.
Of course. I don't know about the of course. There's no purple.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, the Jets are injured. We got, this is our year. I'm going with the Ravens. I know you got the purple dress on,
I'm
obviously.
going with the Ravens, of course.
We know.
Are you excited about the Joe Flacco-Lamar Jackson matchup?
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting.
Will there be a Lamar Jackson thing?
There has to. Yes. There will be Lamar Jackson, of course.
He's not sitting down? Okay, yes. And you know what? I'm not going to say it.
I know the contract negotiations. I know we talk about this a lot.
We're not going there.
Okay.
But yeah.
Ravens, both of us. All right.
Okay.
Cleveland Browns at Carolina Panthers.
This is all about the get back, of course.
Yes, it is.
Baker Mayfield at the Panthers.
They traded him away.
You know what I'm saying? They played him. He's got something to prove.
That's right. So, you know what? I'm going to go with the Panthers on that, too. But I was saying to you before.
Are you going to just take every pick I pick? You doing the same thing? You just following after me? Is that how it works? So you can't lose? Okay.
All right, here, let's do this one. Pittsburgh Steelers at Cincinnati Bengals. I'm going with the Bengals.
Okay, great.
Super Bowl, made it to the Super Bowl last year. I think you kind of got to go with them.
I like the
Over the Steelers.
I'm going with the Steelers. The Steelers are like a broke man's Ravens.
You're getting ready to go down. I see you're easy money.
Okay.
You're going with the Steelers. Easy money. I'm not. All right, Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Dallas Cowboys. I'll let you go on this one.
I'm going to go with the Cowboys because everybody knows Tom got some problems in the household. Happy wife, sad husband. Okay, it don't rhyme, but still. I'm saying he's in trouble.
But I say he's not in trouble because whether she wants him or not, she wants him to go make the money. So she's rooting for him. So I'm going to root for him, too. She's like, get out on that field because the alimony you're going to pay me.
She's not rooting for him. She's mad because he's playing.
I know.
Patrice. Okay, stick with me if you're trying to win this thing. I'm telling you.
So you're going with Cowboys?
Yes.
I'm not. I'm still going with Brady. He's got something to prove. He's going to go out there and be like, look.
Have you seen him now? He looks a mess.
That's what happens when your
broken.
woman leaves you. Women run the world. All right, Jacksonville Jaguars at Washington Commanders. I could go either way on this one. So what are you going to do?
Ladies
I'm going to
first.
do opposite.
Ladies first.
No.
I'm going with the Jags.
I'm going with the Commanders. Then
Great.
why are you going with the Jags?
Only because I think this is their year. Their quarterback, they have a great quarterback. This is their year.
Even they won like 3 games in the last 3 years.
This is their year.
This is their year.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm not necessarily on the Commanders bandwagon, but I'm going to go with them just because you're not.
Okay.
All right. Share your pigskin predictions with me each week. Go to my Facebook page and leave me a post, and you can cheer with me as I beat up on Mark Clark.
Good luck.
Oh, how nice.
Good luck.
Coming up, the world continues to mourn the loss of Queen Elizabeth II, what her life and reign means to contemporary Britain.
And it's a beautiful morning here in Fells Point where Fleet Week is underway. Coming up next, we'll let you know everything happening here and how you can come participate in just a couple of minutes. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 Morning News.
Welcome back. We're taking a live look at the Inner Harbor on this beautiful Saturday morning. Thank you so much for being here. Saturday, September 10th. I'm Rebecca Pryor. Let's get right on over to your forecast. Here's meteorologist Amy Aronson from where we just saw the Inner Harbor. Or, excuse me, she's joining us from Fells with our Fleet Week forecast. Amy?
Yeah, what a treat to be outside enjoying this beautiful morning. I'm not alone out here. I'm with Casey Gunn this morning, who's hanging out with us. And last night, you had a late night. You were out at the O's game.
Yeah, we had a great time. My command was able to come out. We had about 20 of us out there, and we had the opportunity to take in the Red Sox. Go Sox. Unfortunately, it wasn't their night. But no, it was beautiful. It was great to watch the Orioles come back. And again, just a wonderful, warm welcome from the city of Baltimore.
Awesome. I'm glad you're getting to enjoy the city. We look forward to chatting more. We're going to talk weather and all about what you do coming up later this hour. But right now, let's talk more weather. We're going to talk about what we're experiencing out here right now. I've seen a lot of folks out here walking and jogging and running. Perfect morning for that. We are starting off in the refreshing low 60s all around the state right now. Feels fantastic to get your weekend started. If we take a look at what to expect for the rest of the day, there is so much happening this weekend. Not only is Fleet Week underway, Maryland State Fair, final weekend for it. If you're going to enjoy it today, you're in good shape. We're starting off with a mix of clouds and sun. Clouds will be increasing this evening, but it's still going to be nice and warm today with highs ending up in the upper 70s and low 80s. Coming up later this morning, in just about 15 minutes, actually, we are going to talk more about the Navy weather and what's important to them, and I'll also give you a look at when our next weather maker is expected to move in and what that means for the rest of our weekend. Rebecca?
Shocking video comes to light surrounding a 2019 incident at Pimlico Elementary Middle School. We see what appears to be a teacher grabbing a 9-year-old student and pinning him to the ground in a hallway. The alleged victim, a boy with special needs. The mother of that child is now suing Baltimore City Schools and the teacher involved in the alleged assault. Fox 45's Keith Daniels has been following this story and has reaction from the mother.
When Kim Pender describes what she says happened to her 9-year-old son, who has special needs, behind each word that comes forward, a tear is pushed back.
He said, "Mommy, the lady hurt me. She had me down on the ground and she had my face like this."
Pender is suing Baltimore City Schools and her son's teacher. The allegations detailed in a 34-page lawsuit. The alleged incident caught on surveillance video.
The woman putting her hands on my baby. A child should not be slammed on the floor.
Look at these images. Initially, you see children walking out of a classroom. Then the teacher seen grabbing a boy from the doorway, pulling him into the hallway. The boy seemingly grabbed again. There's a tussle. At one point, the video appears to show the teacher violently putting the student on the floor and placing herself on top of him. The family's attorney releasing the video at an afternoon news conference.
Words in and of themselves cannot describe what my client experienced on that day. He was 9 years old at the time and is an autistic student. We all know the issues of safety when it comes to public schools. And now our children have to be worried about whether or not they're safe from their own teachers.
The incident happened at Pimlico Elementary Middle School in July 2019. The lawsuit filed 3 years later in July this year. The process delayed, says the attorney, by COVID and other filing procedures. The family's attorney going public now, he says, after the city filed a motion to dismiss the case.
I want justice for my baby. I want this not to happen to no more kids. I want peace.
Now, this is just the latest in a series of lawsuits against city schools. Others accuse the system of false enrollment numbers to boost funding for certain schools, as well as grade changing to help inflate performance numbers. High-profile civil rights attorney Ben Crump joined that lawsuit in July, saying Baltimore leaders need to do better for city school children.
When you don't have a quality education, when you don't have literacy, it's like you're already in prison. They just haven't closed the cell doors.
Our Project Baltimore team has done extensive reporting on the troubles unfolding in city schools. To see their complete coverage, head to our website under the Project Baltimore tab. A new nonprofit will launch in an effort to reduce crime and find the root cause in the area surrounding Mervo High School. The news comes in the wake of the deadly shooting last Friday and a rash of violence surrounding the school. Public Safety Partnership Incorporated will be formed of community advocates from across the city. Queen Elizabeth II's death on Thursday ends an era in the United Kingdom. She was a long-standing symbol of stability for the British Empire in modern times. Joining us now, Kate Hindmarch Watson, assistant professor in the history department at Johns Hopkins University. Kate, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Very well.
Now, the Queen is all we've known for such a long time. Can you talk about the impact that she's had and the legacy that she leaves behind?
I think one of the most interesting legacies is that she carried the 20th century on her back with her. She was deployed in the Second World War. Her father and grandfather oversaw the First and Second World Wars. And she brings that really powerful memory of the Second World War to the present, what Britain went through in the 1940s with the Blitz, and in that moment of standing alone is really, really important. It's a crucial memory in modern British national identity, and she carried that amongst a lot of other things.
And today, a new era is ushered in. King Charles has officially been formally proclaimed as the UK's new monarch. What are your thoughts on that historic ceremony?
I think he has a tall order on his hands. His mother exemplified the values that so many British people like to see in themselves, and Charles has a huge burden to take up. And it's going to be an interesting few weeks to see how well he settles into that role.
Yeah, and that leads into my next question, which this is a role that he's been waiting for his entire life. It's a big role. Do you think he'll be able to fill those big shoes left behind by the Queen?
You know what? I'm not sure. I think my inner jury is still out on that one. He has represented a lot of other things in the course of his life. I think the public in some way has been reconciled to him, but he is a very different personality. He also, though, will not have the time his mother likely did. He probably won't reign for 70 years. And so the stamp that he's going to be able to leave on the monarchy will be have a different order altogether.
Yes. All right, Kate, that's all the time we have. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, coming up, doing just enough to get the job done could be bad for your health. Why doctors are so concerned about the pandemic-era habit called quiet quitting.
And I'm here in Fells Point this morning where it is a beautiful start to the weekend. Unfortunately, it's not going to stay this way. I am tracking our next weather maker. I'll explain exactly when that arrives and what issues that causes for the rest of the weekend in a couple of minutes. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local all morning.
Welcome back. The pandemic has changed the way that people work. A new Gallup poll finds nearly half of U.S. workers are quiet quitters. Medical reporter Liz Bonus explains how this could be a real hazard to your health.
Hey there, hello to you. Quiet quitting is the term used for just meeting the minimum standard at work to get by. A popular thing these days in this pandemic time. In fact, Gallup recently found those actively disengaged at work have hit an all-time high. They say only about 1 in 3 of us now do go to work and go the extra mile. Only about 1 in 5 speak up about it. But everyone else?
They begin to ghost the employer. They just quietly just pull back.
Beth Gifford, an adjunct business instructor at Cedarville University, says it's been a thing for quite a while, but the COVID-19 pandemic made it worse.
I do believe that coming out of COVID, everyone has sort of reevaluated their lives.
Well, work-related personal time boundaries are critical to your health.
I think the onus is really on employers to work on making the environment sustainable and acceptable to all that's within the walls.
Psychiatrist Dr. Tracy Cummings says quiet quitting can be an unhealthy coping mechanism. Are some of these, however, early warning signs that you may actually be depressed?
So it could be. So if someone is pulling back and isolating themselves, that may be a sign of a bigger concern.
In all likelihood, she says you likely are feeling underappreciated or unchallenged. To reverse the cycle, your boss may need to make sure
people are working to their training ability, so they're not spending time doing things that isn't really maximizing what they're really good at.
And Dr. Cummings says you need to talk to a safe work person and see if you can become a quiet, engaged, happy employee. She reminds us if your safe person to talk to is not inside your own work environment, don't be afraid to reach out outside it. I'm medical reporter Liz Bonus. Now back to you.
This is like my Zooms all year long.
Houston, prepare for liftoff. Why Vice President Kamala Harris refers to herself as a space nerd.
And we are in Fells Point this morning where Fleet Week is underway. We're actually now hanging out right by the Moncton. We'll tell you more about what's happening down here, and we're actually going to talk with a member of the Navy in just a couple of minutes. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning.
Happening now, our military has taken over the Inner Harbor. Get out, explore, learn, and celebrate Maryland Fleet Week and fly over Baltimore. Meteorologist Amy Aronson is in Fells Point this morning with more on the exciting events happening. Amy?
Yeah, that's right, Rebecca. Lots happening down here. Lots actually to learn. And we're going to learn a little bit right now from Casey Gahn, Commanding Officer Casey Gahn, who's joining us this morning. Let's talk about what you do. You focus on the meteorology, the forecasting, oceanography. That's your department.
Yes, Amy, I do. I'm very lucky to be a naval officer in the Navy meteorology and oceanography community. We have approximately 2,500 sailors, civilians, scientists, technicians, everything you could think of that would be needed to do the weather. And we're located in 60 locations around the world. And we take care of everything from the bottom of the seafloor all the way up to the stars. So if there's solar flares affecting communications potentially, and for submarines transiting underwater, we do everything from the top to the bottom.
And what's your focus? Because you focus on something very specific.
Yeah, I'm the commanding officer of the National Naval Ice Center located in Suitland, Maryland. And we're responsible for global forecasting of the ice in the Arctic, the Antarctic, the Great Lakes, Chesapeake Bay, Delaware Bay. And we're a really neat organization because not only are we Navy, but we're NOAA and Coast Guard as well. So we're the National Ice Center. We're a tri-agency organization, Navy, NOAA, and Coast Guard. And we're only about 50 people to track that ice all over the world.
That's incredible. And what kind of tools do you use to track it?
So we rely heavily on satellite imagery, but we also use models and observations. So we're the co-directors of the Interagency Arctic Buoy Program, and we help deploy buoys in the Arctic to get those in-situ measurements that are so important.
That's awesome. And we're lucky enough to have you spending some time with us here in Fells Point and in Baltimore. So what are you most looking forward to this week while you're in town?
Well, we went to the ball game last night. That was awesome. And the city's been wonderful. And I think this beautiful day, we'll just take it in, maybe get some good food and just, again, enjoy the hospitality.
You're definitely in the right spot for it. You'll have to get a crab cake or some sort of crab-related dish while you're here.
That sounds wonderful. I can't wait.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much for spending the morning with us. We're going to take a look at this big ship that we're standing in front of right now, this Canadian ship, actually, the Moncton. But we're also going to talk more about weather and what we're expecting for our weekend. So we are starting off with what's happening actually in the tropics, and we are heading to the peak of the Atlantic hurricane season right now. September 10th, that would be today. So this is typically when we see activity peak in the tropics. So we are going to take a look at what's happening right now in the Atlantic, because I actually am tracking a system, a storm right now, and that would be Earl. Say hello to Hurricane Earl this morning. Fortunately, that's traveling far away from us, so that won't be a concern for us here on the East Coast, at least directly. It is going to cause some rough surf, some rip current if you're at the beaches this weekend, and also cause some coastal flooding issues. Actually, even for our shoreline, be prepared for that this morning. Otherwise, high pressure still in control for one more day, but next weather maker is coming. See that cold front off to our west and all that moisture to our south? Both will merge and head our way. You can already see the clouds and the showers to our south and west this morning. That's what's going to arrive here later tonight and especially tomorrow. Take advantage of today. It's definitely the better of the 2 days for outdoor plans. Clouds will roll in tomorrow, followed by some showers. These showers will increase in coverage overnight, and by this time tomorrow, you're going to want to have a rain jacket and umbrella. I believe this time tomorrow morning, I'm going to be at Martin State Airport actually checking out all the Fleet Week activities there, and I will be dressed much differently. I'll be dressed for the rain. This weather system will continue to move through as we head through Sunday into Monday. Monday looks pretty unsettled too for back to work, back to school. Not really actually clearing us until Tuesday, so a couple of rainy days coming up. This morning, starting off in Towson, I drove through this on my way into work, actually, or on my way down to Fells Point this morning. Fog. You're not seeing much of anything right now, so be prepared for some reduced visibilities just depending on where you are. Otherwise, it's comfy everywhere. Low 60s, low 70s, even some upper 50s in the outlying areas. As we head through the rest of the day, if you plan to come join me down here in Fells Point, it is going to be fantastic. Sun to start, some clouds to end, with highs ending in the very warm low 80s. Tonight, maybe you're going out to Camden Yards. It's going to be another beautiful night for some baseball, at least to begin. Mostly cloudy and cooling. Temperature settling back into the mid-70s. And a quick look ahead shows that next weather maker coming. I am tracking some showers and some storms starting tomorrow, lingering through Monday, wrapping up Tuesday. But after that, things will dry out nicely. We'll enjoy lots of sunshine, and it's going to be seasonable again with another week where we have high temperatures headed into the low 80s each day. So, Rebecca, right now it's just a perfect morning. I see lots of folks running and jogging. There's actually a farmer's market setting up here in Fells Point. If you haven't been outside just yet, maybe take your coffee, and take it outside this morning. Or come join me down here in Fells Point.
I will. I will take you up on that offer. I'm glad you're seeing better weather than what's out in Towson right now.
Yeah, same.
Thanks so much, Amy. Trending now, the wonders of technology. Vice President Kamala Harris joined NASA for a special meeting at the Johnson Space Center in Houston yesterday.
Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
This is like my Zooms all year long. I am so excited to be with you all as Vice President, as the head of the Space Council, and as an American who is a space nerd. I'm so thrilled to be with each one of you.
NASA officials set up a link with astronauts aboard the International Space Station. After talking to the astronauts, she chaired a meeting with the National Space Council and later took a tour of the Space Center. Now, Ravens kick off the season against the Jets in just one day. What one Jets rookie said that's ruffling some feathers in Flock Nation. And now a bright spot for your morning. I'm excited for this one. An Iowa zoo has big news about its newest baby that is already over 5 feet tall. Meet the Blank Park Zoo's new giraffe. Oh, it's so cute. A baby boy only 3 days old at 5 feet 5 inches tall and weighing in at 107 pounds. The calf only looks small next to his parents. The zoo hasn't picked a name for him yet. Zookeepers plan to release several possible names, and the public will be asked to vote on their favorite starting on September 14th. And we have more baby animals for you. Take a look at this. The Cincinnati Zoo posted a video on Twitter of the hippo baby Fritz chasing his famous sister Fiona into the water of their enclosure. Mom Bibi makes sure to follow closely behind to make sure Fritz doesn't get away with any funny business. Baby Fritz is now a month old and weighing in at a modest 141 pounds. His big sister Fiona was just 53 pounds at 1 month.
Welcome into your morning sports report. I'm Rocco DeSangro. Lamar Jackson set a Friday deadline for contract talks, and QB1 stuck to his word. Jackson and the Ravens unable to come to terms on a contract extension, meaning that he'll play the 2022 season on the 5th-year option of his rookie deal. So what's next? The Ravens will do one of two things when the season ends: franchise tag Jackson or pay him the big bucks. Jackson and the Ravens will face the Jets to kick off the 2022 campaign. New York will be without starting left tackle Dwayne Brown, who's dealing with a shoulder injury. George Fant will start in his place, meaning that rookie Max Mitchell will get to go at right tackle. And he'll be seeing a lot of Calais Campbell. But what he said kind of stirred the pot.
He's a 15-year vet, so obviously he's got some salt to him. So dude's big, long, strong, fast. So I mean, he's just a freak athlete, but you know, nothing we can't handle, nothing that you know haven't seen on the field before. Obviously, he's a renowned guy, but you know, it's just another dude.
Listen, he might not have meant it that way, but Calais is anything but just another dude. That's all I got to say. The Ravens released their injury report ahead of Sunday's season opener. J.K. Dobbins and Marcus Peters are both questionable. Ronnie Stanley doubtful, and Travis Jones is out. The last 5 years, the O's have been on the outside looking in. Playoff talk this time of year hasn't been in the cards since 2016, but the tables have turned. The O's are within reach, with the bird's eye fixated on one of those 3 wild card spots. Austin Voth on the bump for the O's, and he's going to want this one back. Bottom 3, Xander Bogaerts hits a 2-run shot to right to give Boston a 2-0 lead. Let's go to the 6th, though, because that's where the good stuff started. The rally began. Cedric Mullins scores here on a wild pitch to cut the Sox deficit to 1. A few moments later, bases juiced for Gunnar Henderson. The helmet's going to stay on. He's not going to hit it out of the park, but what he will do is come through in the clutch. Big 2-hit night for the Rook, and the O's go on to beat the Red Sox in Game 1 by a final score of 3-2. So this right here is one of the fiercest rivalries the city has to offer. And if you don't have plans on a Saturday night, listen, head on over to United Stadium. Morgan State and Towson will go head-to-head for the 27th time in the battle for Greater Baltimore. The Tigers have won the last 4 meetings between the two teams, so the Bears will look to flip the script. Kickoff, that's slated for 7 p.m. We'll have highlights tonight on Sports Unlimited. How about some high school football action? An emotional day for Mervo football. Mustangs open the season with heavy hearts following the death of teammate Jeremiah Brogdon. They jumped out to an early 14-0 lead on City College. Darryl Fletcher finding the end zone here, and Mervo goes on to win in its season opener, 37-0 the final score. Mount St. Joe and Franklin battling under the lights. Franklin with the ball. Xander McCracken fires right to Khalil Bilal. Check out the catch by one to extend the drive. Gets 2 feet in right there. Franklin unable to capitalize, though. Mount St. Joe would. They give to Zion Williams nothing but green grass in front, and he cruises in for 6. And the Gales go on to win big, 34-0, the final score. That's your morning sports report. I'm Rocco DeSangro. Have a great Saturday.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 Morning News.
We begin this morning taking a live look at Towson. It looks like it's starting to clear up a little bit, but still muggy and foggy out there for sure. Thanks for being here on this Saturday, September 10th. I'm Rebecca Pryor. We're going to get right on over to your Fleet Week forecast. Here's meteorologist Amy Aronson joining us from Fells. Amy, how are you doing?
Good morning, Rebecca. Yeah, beautiful morning underway here. We've got a little bit of sun breaking through the clouds. A light breeze feels comfortable. If we take a look at where our numbers are at, we're starting off very comfortable, low to mid 60s to get things started. In some outlying areas, the cooler upper 50s right now. As we head through the rest of the day, it looks pretty nice for actually whatever you have planned. As we plan out the rest of your day, we'll start off with a mix of sun and clouds. We will see increasing clouds this afternoon, but that's not going to stop our temperatures from warming. Temperatures will end up in the low 80s today. Now tomorrow, yeah, it doesn't look quite as nice. Unfortunately, I am tracking our next weather maker, and that's going to send us a chance for rain, and actually a little earlier than expected. So coming up in just about 15 minutes, I'll let you know exactly when the showers arrive and what it means for the rest of your weekend plans. Rebecca?
Thanks so much, Amy. Gun violence is high nationwide. 1 in 4 U.S. adults fears being attacked in their own neighborhood. That's according to a new poll by the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health, and NPR. The revelation comes as crime remains a top concern across the country. Some critics think judges and jurisdictions are being too soft on crime, telling criminals it's open season.
What's happening is criminals feel emboldened to just go ahead and frankly do things that they wouldn't have done 5 or 10 years ago.
Now, we've heard similar criticism of Baltimore City State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby. Many critics say her prosecution policies embolden criminals and give the message that you can get away with crime in Baltimore.
Armed carjackers, people who carry illegal weapons, people who commit prior homicides go on to commit more homicides. That's just a fact. And the fact that the state's attorney's office is not prosecuting them to the full extent of the law is not only concerning, it's costing people lives.
The lack of accountability. You know, I hear people that live in different states and say, you know, if you want to shoot somebody or kill somebody, you know, come to Baltimore.
But those are far from the only problems our city's top prosecutor is currently facing. She's also facing multiple federal charges, accused of committing perjury and mortgage fraud. Joining us now to discuss Mosby's upcoming trial, attorney Kurt Notchman. Kurt, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Now, Kurt, we know that Mosby was back in court Wednesday for a pre-trial hearing. Can you explain what we learned about how the trial will be handled moving forward from that hearing?
So we learned that the defense was trying to bar the prosecution from using certain other investigations that Mosby's been under investigation for the last several years. In particular, she's trying to utilize the fact that she's got these other businesses that were not successful during the pandemic, and she's saying that that was her financial hardship. However, the Department of Justice plans to elicit testimony from 2 witnesses, her attorney and the state's attorney's office spokesperson, who are going to say in prior statements that she was not using those businesses at the time of the pandemic. Therefore, she couldn't suffer a financial hardship for this withdrawal. So it's going to shape up pretty interestingly, particularly given the fact that her lawyers, her old lawyers, have been subpoenaed by the Department of Justice.
And how do you think the judge ruling that prosecutors can't mention any of Mosby's previous investigations will affect the case?
I don't really think it's going to ultimately affect the case. Frankly, I was a little bit surprised that the prosecution and defense weren't able to agree on some sort of process by which they couldn't mention that. It's very uncommon to mention other crimes evidence in a crime of a particular defendant. There are very limited circumstances where you're permitted to do that. And it does look like the DOJ anticipated losing that motion and already had contingency plans in place.
Can you talk a little bit about what we can expect from this trial once it starts within just a little over a week now?
So the government's going to have to produce witnesses, and they're going to produce a large volume of documentary evidence related to her tax returns, as well as the documents that she utilized to purchase these various properties in Florida. And then they're going to also bring in, as I said, her attorney and the spokesperson for the state's attorney's office to say that she was not using those businesses. We know for a fact that her salary as a state's attorney went up, and they're going to also elicit that information during the course of the pandemic, and that they're going to have to prove that she did not suffer financial hardship to qualify for the withdrawals that she did do. And then they're also going to have to prove that she knew about that tax lien when she filled out the mortgage applications.
And final question here. Ultimately, do you have any predictions for the outcome of this case?
So the prosecutors very carefully chose the counts that they're going to call. I think it's very much largely a paper case, and the defense is going to have to try to poke holes in that. I think it's probably going to last about a week, maybe a little bit longer, depending on how quickly jury selection goes. And I think it probably will not be filled with sort of the explosive fireworks that we're used to coming out of various courtroom testimonies. It's largely a paper case and an economic case.
Time will tell, Kurt. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks so much.
Mervo High School's football team on the field last night for the first time since Jeremiah Brogdon was shot and killed last week. He was one of their teammates. Mayor Brandon Scott, a Mervo alum, attended the game and told us it was important for the teens to hit the field.
After losing Jeremiah last week, this is healing for those young men who lost their teammate, for those other students who lost a classmate, and all of us in the Mervo family who lost another Mustang. We're still already healing from losing Elijah last year, and we lost another young man this week as well. It's about really a healing thing, especially for the students, allowing them to have some sense of normalcy.
The mayor congratulated the Mustangs on Twitter. Happy to see his school win. Stick around for Sports Unlimited. Rocco DeSangro will have the highlights. Now, Spirit Week is usually a time for unity on high school campuses, but that's not what's unfolding at Chesapeake High School in Anne Arundel County. Fox 45's Jeff Abel has more on the school's decision to change Spirit themes and why it's receiving backlash.
C-O-U-G-A-R-S, Cougars are the best. On the field at Chesapeake High in Pasadena tonight,
Roll Peak!
The hometown team was gaining yards, while in the stands, fans were tackling a more colorful issue.
It was supposed to be Patriotic Day. They said it's too divisive.
The school has traditionally had a red, white, and blue theme during this football weekend as a way of remembering those who died during 9/11. But all that changed this weekend when the school announced its red, white, and blue theme would be replaced with a Hawaiian beach out theme. In a letter to parents this week, the principal wrote that moving away from the red, white, and blue theme was simply an effort to avoid the issues we faced as a community last year. It was in no way an attempt to take any side of any argument or align with any philosophy. During the height of last year's political season, some parents say the patriotic theme sparked fights.
There wasn't any fights last year.
Absolutely. I'm furious.
The decision angered many parents who flooded tonight's game with red, white, and blue. Earlier, a parade of flag-draped vehicles rolled through Pasadena in opposition of the decision.
Can't say it's intentional, but I don't know what it is if it's not.
There were few Hawaiian displays at tonight's game, but there was no missing the red, white, and blue. Tonight's game came with a message.
And anybody that wants to wear a Hawaiian shirt, I don't care, wear a Hawaiian shirt. But don't stop us from wanting to support our country and who we like.
This is like my Zooms all year long.
Houston, prepare for liftoff. Why Vice President Kamala Harris refers to herself as a space nerd.
And the weekend is off to a really pretty start, and we're enjoying it here in Fells Point, where Fleet Week is underway. Coming up next, I'll let you know exactly how long the sunshine's going to stick around. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local all morning.
Welcome back. New details after a Cecil County family of 5 was found shot dead inside their Elk Mills home along Hebron Court. The sheriff's office tells Fox 45 News that the bodies of 3 children and 2 adults were found scattered throughout the home. We're told the father called 911 to report his wife and 3 kids were killed. When deputies arrived, he was dead as well, a gun next to him.
There's not a public safety concern as far as it going outside of this, so the community is, there is none of that concern. It's grief. It's tragic and terrible, and it takes a long time for people to process.
The sheriff's office is working on notifying family members. Once that's done, they'll identify the victims.
21 years after 9/11, the meaning behind never forget is evolving. I'm Atrell Nashar with how younger Americans view this chapter in history.
And new information about what the FBI may have been after while raiding City Schools headquarters last month. Why the Project Baltimore team believes it may be linked to a story first reported on 2 years ago. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning. Welcome back. We're learning more about what the FBI may have been after when it raided Baltimore City Schools headquarters last month. As Project Baltimore's Chris Papps explains, sources familiar with the FBI's investigation say it involves a Fox 45 News investigation from 2 years ago.
Fox 45 first broke the news.
There was an FBI search at City School headquarters Wednesday
when federal agents last month raided North Avenue. Soon after, we learned the FBI was looking into Dunbar High's school resource officer and 7-time state champion football coach Lawrence Smith.
Watch the ball!
Potentially over issues with overtime.
You know, they think that, football is my full-time job. But I let them know, I said, no, this blue uniform is what really pays my mortgage.
Project Baltimore looked at Smith's earnings and found as a school resource officer in 2018, he earned about $13,000 in overtime. We don't have his 2019 overtime earnings, but in 2020, his overtime spiked to nearly $68,000 and then $94,000 the year after. It's unclear why his overtime jumped so significantly. Smith is not commenting, but sources familiar with the raid tell Fox 45 that overtime is not the only issue under investigation. The other concerns a Project Baltimore report from 2020.
Throws this one deep downfield, caught!
And a deal Smith made with the A7FL. The A7FL is a 7-on-7 football league where players wear no helmets and no pads. Founded in 2015, the league has quickly grown to include 20 teams across the country, including in Baltimore. In summer 2020, Fox 45 News exposed how the multi-million-dollar league was using Dunbar High School's football field without the proper permits. At the time, we interviewed the league's regional commissioner, Marcus Cole, who said he worked out a deal to use the field.
My understanding is that we were covered. My relationship with the coaches and everyone else, with the partnership that we had, my assumption is that everything was okay.
In 2015, when the A7FL came to Baltimore, Cole said he partnered with an organization called Clear Path Athletics. According to the CEO of the A7FL, the deal was this: the league could use Dunbar's football field for free. In return, all revenue from ticket and concession sales would go to Clear Path.
We got good movement.
Founded by Lawrence Smith.
But Smith doesn't own Dunbar's football field. According to City Schools policy, he doesn't have the authority to rent it out. Students in Baltimore City are supposed to benefit from the fees generated by issuing permits. But in this case, it appears that didn't happen.
Recent calls and text messages to Smith have not been returned. But in 2020, he told Fox 45 that Clear Path Athletics allowed the A7FL to operate under its permit. So the A7FL wasn't paying permit fees to use Dunbar's field. And remember, all money from ticket and concession sales went to Clear Path. That's 3 sources of revenue that could have gone to Dunbar High School, but apparently did not. And then there's this. According to state records, Clear Path Athletics shut down in 2017, but the A7FL played at Dunbar's field for 5 seasons, from 2015 to 2019. During just the 2019 season, the league played 24 games at Dunbar. But if Clear Path shut down 2 years earlier, where was the money from ticket and concession sales going? Sources within Dunbar say it was never transferred to the school.
With moving forward, we would definitely go about doing things the right way and making sure everything's handled the way it's supposed to be handled.
After Project Baltimore first broke the A7FL story in 2020, city schools banned the league from the stadium. The A7FL then acquired the proper permits from city schools, and the partnership with Smith ended. I'm Chris Pabst, and this is Project Baltimore.
Now let's get on over to meteorologist Amy Aronson with a check of your Fleet Week forecast. She joins us live from a very large ship in Fells Point. Amy.
That's right, a Canadian ship actually that was berthed here in Fells Point, and now it's back for everybody to see. The sun is shining down on it and on Fells Point. There's also a farmer's market underway here. It is just a lovely Sunday morning in Fells Point. If you are looking for something to do, why not come check out some of the big ships that are parked actually all around the Inner Harbor. And I want to show you a nice little bird's eye view of the Inner Harbor from our camera. Starting off with sunshine over Camden Yards in wake of that Orioles win last night, and over M&T Bank Stadium. It'll be empty this weekend, but of course we'll be cheering on the Ravens come tomorrow. We are starting off comfortable, mid-60s to begin. We make a run for near 80 degrees today. Clouds will eventually return, followed by some showers tonight, but most of the rain holds off until tomorrow. And that rain is coming from the south and from the west. You'll see a cold front to our west, an area of low pressure to our south. Both are going to track our direction and bring us a good amount of moisture. That just means rain. Rain is going to move in tomorrow for the second half of the weekend. Today, though, we are starting off dry. You will see some clouds off to our south and west. They are going to work their way in, and that's going to be the change that we notice today. Tomorrow, the change will be the rain. We also have a coastal flood advisory I want to point out. This has to do with a little tropical disturbance offshore. That's Earl, still a hurricane, shoving some water up along the shoreline, causing some coastal flooding issues. That continues through the end of the morning. Future Scan shows a mix of sun and clouds to get things started today. As we head through the rest of the day, clouds will be increasing and temperatures will be warming through the mid-70s into the low 80s. We are cloudy this evening, though, not quite as pretty. As we get into Saturday night, a couple of sprinkles show up around the Baltimore area. Heading into Sunday, some more showers are likely by the morning. I think the heavier rain comes through during the midday hours and through the afternoon. You're going to want to have an umbrella, a rain jacket if you do plan to do anything outside come tomorrow. That chance for showers will actually continue Sunday night right into Monday. So the first half of the weekend, definitely the pick of the weekend for outdoor activities. We start off with sun today. We end with clouds. Highs end up in the very warm low 80s. Tomorrow's not quite as nice. We start off with some rain in the morning, some scattered showers and some storms in the afternoon, and it's going to be much cooler, too. I want to point that out. Highs only in the mid-70s. Not the best day for outdoor plans tomorrow. But I know we have a lot happening this weekend. State Fair, Fleet Week. Today is the day for that. I did include a chance for a sprinkle late, but I think most of the rain holds off until later tonight, heading into Sunday. Tomorrow, kind of a washout. We start off with morning showers, afternoon showers and storms, and then this unsettled pattern continues through Monday. It's not until Tuesday that we wrap up with a few showers, and after that, we'll dry things out. Second half of the week looks much different. It looks much better. The sun is back, and that's going to keep our high temperatures in the very warm and actually very seasonable low 80s. And that will be the case all the way through the end of next week. Rebecca, it is just beautiful out here. I wish you could join me this morning. Fortunately, I am joined by lots of folks. Everyone's running and jogging and walking and actually checking out this big Canadian ship that's parked in the distance here. So I suggest if everyone needs something to do or anyone needs some plans this weekend, just come join me down here in Pels.
Yes, very cool. I will be coming to join you in just a little bit. So
that sounds good.
See you soon. Okay. City officials say West Baltimore residents can now safely use water. Fox 45 examines the mayor's administration's communication breakdown throughout the crisis. Welcome back. We now have a bright spot for your morning. An Iowa zoo has big news about its newest baby that is already over 5 feet tall. Meet the Blank Park Zoo's new giraffe, a baby boy, only 3 days old at 5 feet 5 inches tall and weighing in at 107 pounds. The calf only looks small next to his parents. The zoo hasn't picked a name for him just yet. Zookeepers plan to release several possible names, and the public will be asked to vote on their favorite starting on September 14th. And take a look at this. The Cincinnati Zoo posted a video on Twitter of hippo baby Fritz chasing his famous sister Fiona into the water of their enclosure. Mom Bibi makes sure to follow closely behind to make sure Fritz doesn't get away with any funny business. Baby Fritz is now a month old and weighing in at a modest 141 pounds. His big sister Fiona was just 53 pounds at 1 month. And Genevieve Gorder has a look at today's steals and deals.
The following segment is sponsored by Knocking.
Today is a buy one, get one free deal on something I already know you love, because anytime we bring these onto the show, they're gone. It's Tiki Tunes. They're back, and it's the season for get-togethers with your family and your friends, with your neighbors, just anybody, right? Just we want to get together with everybody. And today we have something to make those gatherings even more fun. It's your favorite Tiki Tunes. Now, as a designer, I always want to set the tone for every event. Lighting, by far, is one of the most important elements to setting the right tone. That, paired with music, come on, it has an LED flame that simulates a tiki torch, and it's safe to put absolutely anywhere. By the pool, in your planters, on a deck. We even have garden stakes if you want to submerge them into the garden. It adds so much ambiance to a table when hosting friends, and the best part is you can also stream your music from any Bluetooth device to make your outdoor gathering and dinner party complete. It's super cool. It's a speaker that also has a candle in it, and maybe you want to exercise or just listen to your favorite podcast while you're gardening. Get a few. Pair 2 Tiki Tunes for stereo sound and put them along the walkway. They're even great for indoors, so if you have teens, it's all about this aesthetic. They love these. We are offering buy one, get one free on Tiki Tunes. Go to asadeals.com.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 Morning News.
Taking a live look at the Inner Harbor. Looks like a beautiful day to start our weekend off with. Thanks for being here on this Saturday, September 10th. I'm Rebecca Pryor. We're going to get right on over to your Fleet Week forecast. Here's meteorologist Amy Aronson. Amy?
Yeah, the sun has taken over. Temperatures are warming up. Feels fantastic here in Fells Point. As you can see, big ship in the distance. That is a Canadian ship that was actually berthed here in Fells Point. So coming back to Fells Point, and we are off to a refreshing start. Lots of low and mid 60s to get things started this weekend. If we take a look at what to expect for the rest of the day, there is so much happening today. I'm going to flip you over to my State Fair planner here because that's also going on this weekend. If you're trying to decide what day should I go, I would say today over tomorrow, just because today's going to be the drier day, starting off with sun, ending with clouds, highs in the low 80s. Come tomorrow, unfortunately, I am tracking our next chance for rain. It's not going to be as pretty for whatever you want to do outside. Coming up in 15 minutes, I will walk you through the updated timeline for the showers this weekend and let you know exactly when they're going to move in. Rebecca?
Our top story this morning, West Baltimore residents received the all clear to safely drink their water without boiling. This comes after an E. coli scare in the water supply this week, but city leaders say the water has now tested negative. Some residents, however, aren't quite ready to drink and cook without boiling their water. This morning's distribution centers were still packed with people looking to pick up clean water. Several people say they're hesitant to trust the supply.
Do you trust the water?
No. Only to wash up.
Do you trust your water at your house?
Oh, I don't know. I might be still boiling mine for a couple more days.
Do you trust the water from your faucet?
No, because of the corrosion in the city, the pipelines.
No one resident says they won't trust the water until the mayor himself comes to West Baltimore and drinks out of the faucet. One of the roles of the Maryland Department of the Environment is implementing the Federal Safe Drinking Water Act. That federal law requires the public to be notified within 24 hours of contamination. Our Mackenzie Frost questioned Governor Larry Hogan about when DPW and the state started working to notify the public.
What do you know about the timeline of this, and is it concerning to you?
Well, it's concerning to me that there seems to have been just kind of a lack of transparency, and some of the information coming out of the city was delayed. But behind the scenes, there wasn't any confusion at all, and all of our agencies at the state level have been working since day one to try to help the city with the problem there, and it seems like they're making progress.
Do you know if MDE directed the city to take action Sunday?
I don't know.
Here are the results from yesterday's informal viewer poll when we asked, do you have confidence in Mayor Scott's administration to handle a crisis like this, water crisis? Almost everyone said no, something he took issue with when Mackenzie asked him about it.
The majority of our viewers have said that they don't believe that you are equipped to handle a crisis like this. How do you respond to that criticism?
I don't respond to unscientific polls, period.
What if they're your constituents?
Can you tell me who they are? They're unscientific polls. What I say is I've handled many crises, and I handle them with dignity and respect. I don't get shaken. I don't get stirred. I'm sturdy. Growing up in Baltimore, living what I had to live through, having guns pointed at my face, have prepared me from crises that people who do not live in this city and may be clicking a button over and over again on your voting poll do not and will not ever understand.
Now, many West Baltimore residents say they've exhibited E. coli symptoms since well before the first positive test came back. A woman named Miss Denise says people don't always have the resources or knowledge to find out what's ailing them.
My neighbor said, Miss Denise, don't drink the water. And I'm like, what's going on? And they started telling me about the E. coli thing. If you come around here and you talk to each and every one of these neighbors, you will find out that they have been sick. They just didn't go to the hospital. They took care of it themselves at home.
Now, Miss Denise is now on the mend, thank goodness, but it will take time for her and hundreds of others in Baltimore to have confidence in the water supply again. This weekend marks 21 years since the September 11th terrorist attacks, and tributes are already pouring in. The Pentagon held its annual memorial observance this afternoon, remembering the more than 3,000 lives lost on that tragic day. President Biden will be at the Pentagon on Sunday. He will deliver an address and lay wreaths. Many recall exactly where they were on 9/11, but a new generation of adults who weren't alive for the attacks haven't grasped the impact in the same way. Atra El-Nashar shares thoughts from a first responder about what it means to never forget.
On September 11th, 2001, Jamie Hazen was on the phone with his mom when the first plane hit.
I didn't have to stop and think, do I help? It was just out the door.
A former EMT and Red Cross trainer, Hazen rushed to the World Trade Center. Like so many first responders, Hazen would go on to suffer from a slew of health complications. 21 years later, Hazen still struggles to talk about it and what he saw.
When you bring me back like that to talk about this, it's hard. It's very, very hard.
Forgetting will never be an option for Hazen, But never forget, a phrase many automatically associate with 9/11, resonates differently for others. According to a new survey by YouGov and the group More in Common, 15% of Gen Z respondents said they don't know when asked what Americans are supposed to never forget. 9% of millennials also said they don't know, as did 7% of Gen Xers.
When I look at today's generation, they don't know about 9/11 no differently than my generation doesn't know firsthand what it's like to have witnessed the bombing of Pearl Harbor. A lot of time goes by, and often with time we forget.
But the most popular answer to what Americans should never forget are the victims and their families and the sacrifices of first responders on and after 9/11. The survey also finds Gen Zs and millennials are significantly less likely than older generations to describe post-9/11 America as patriotic or united. But one undeniable moment of global unity weighs especially heavy this week.
We are told that at the request of the Queen, the Coldstream Guards Band played the Star-Spangled Banner. Let's listen.
The rare change in protocol from the Queen remembered by lawmakers this week following news of her passing. The coming days sure to resurface grief, but also recollections of unity and service. In Washington, I'm Atrell Nashar reporting.
And today marks the end of National Suicide Awareness Week, why one decorated Army veteran is making it his mission to advocate for other vets struggling with their mental health.
And it is a beautiful start to the weekend for Fleet Week here in Baltimore. Actually, Enoch Pratt Library is participating. We'll let you know exactly how they're involved in what's happening here this weekend in a couple of minutes. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local all morning.
Happening now, our military has taken over the Inner Harbor. Get out, explore, learn, and celebrate Maryland Fleet Week and fly over Baltimore. Meteorologist Amy Aronson is in Fells Point this morning with more on the exciting events that are happening. Amy?
Yeah, there's lots happening down here. Not only are we surrounded by big ships in the Navy, but Enoch Pratt Library is actually joining all the festivities this weekend. Megan McCorkle is here to tell us all about it. You brought your big red truck.
We did. I said it's like we drive a billboard around. You always know that we are here. So Yes, our bookmobile will be down at the Inner Harbor at the Family Fun Festival, along with a tent that our librarians will be in, and you can we'll be doing story times for kids that are kind of Fleet Week maritime themed story times. You can hop on board the bookmobile, check out a book, or if you don't have a library card, we'll sign you up for a library card. We can tell you all of the events that are going on at the library, but we're so excited to be part of Fleet Week.
That's so exciting. We're taking a little look inside the truck right now, which is packed with books, by the way, because you all are ready to set up down by the Inner Harbor. So like you mentioned, maritime related stories and stuff like that, something for all ages?
Yes, absolutely. We always have something for all ages, and I always tell people, like, we have 22 libraries across the city. I encourage anyone to come and visit. There's something for everyone at the library, and if you don't have a library card, you can actually go right on our website, prattlibrary.org, and get an e-card. You can check out ebooks, and then, we have millions of books available.
You're keeping up with the times.
Always.
And Fleet Week is taking over Baltimore. How exciting is it to be part of this?
We're an anchor institution in the city. People get really excited to see us, and to have the entire city celebrating something like this, having these gorgeous ships come in, we're just so excited to be able to be down here on the water and be a part of the whole thing.
That is awesome. If people can't come down this weekend, like you mentioned, you've got 22 locations all around the area. How else can people get in touch or come check you all out?
Absolutely. Check out prattlibrary.org and you will see our events for fall. You have all of the resources for back to school for the kids, lots of stuff for adults and teens, and you can always come visit us at any of our locations. And the bookmobile is always on the road, so follow us wherever we go.
You can't miss it, right? Yes. Okay, awesome. Well, thank you for joining us on this beautiful morning.
Yes, thank you.
And today is actually the day to come out and check out everything that's happening at the Inner Harbor, Fells Point, wherever you want to go, because come tomorrow, I'm tracking our next weather maker coming up in just a couple of minutes. I'll let you know exactly when that arrives and what it means for your weekend plans. Rebecca?
Sounds like lots of fun. Thanks, Amy. An NFL tragedy turned into a collaborative effort to help others. How one woman is helping future athletes avoid major health risks. But first, two-time Purple Heart recipient Master Sergeant Pasha Palanker joins me in studio to talk about the importance of mental health at the end of National Suicide Awareness Week. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning. September 4th through the 10th is National Suicide Prevention Week. Suicide statistics are on the rise across the U.S. as nearly 46,000 people died by suicide in 2020. Those rates are even higher across the military community as 22 veterans die by suicide each day Joining us live in studio this morning, retired Army Master Sergeant Pasha Palanker, a decorated combat veteran and two-time recipient of the Purple Heart, with more on the issues of mental health and suicide prevention. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Now, during your career, you saw sustained combat in various war zones around the world, but you've said that some of your toughest battles were actually off the battlefield. Can you explain that a little further?
Yeah, the transition back home, coming back to civilian life, finding a way to fit in and build a new identity, it was much harder than expected. We get ready for combat, but there's not enough time to prepare us for life after combat. And that's where a lot of us hit a wall and are affected by the mental health crises.
Now, our younger generation, they're also facing their own different types of mental health crises, social media playing a major role in their upbringing and what they're facing now. Can you talk a little bit about what we need to do to kind of outreach to young people who are most vulnerable?
Well, I'm the father of 4 boys, and I can tell you from personal experience is the best thing we can do for our children is to take care of our own mental health. Our kids don't listen to what we do, to what we say, but they repeat what we do. And the best thing we can do for our children is to take care of our own mental health. And we become better parents, the better we feel emotionally, and then we model the right kind of behavior when it's their turn to take care of themselves.
And one of the best ways to deal with mental health is talking about it, and a lot of times that's through therapy is a great outlet. You have a very unique outlet, though, we want to hear more about.
Well, outside of traditional therapy and medication, all that stuff, it's important to find that new group of people that you relate to. And I was fortunate enough to become part of Team Fast Tracks, which is a parachute demonstration team. We jumped to football games, flying these huge American flags, honoring our nation and remembering our fallen heroes.
That is incredible. Can other veterans get involved in that, or?
Sure, it takes a lot of work, but it's very doable.
And you're doing that today, correct?
Yes.
Where
yes.
can people see you today?
We're jumping into the Naval Academy game today in Annapolis.
Very cool. Thank you so much for joining us, Pasha.
Thanks for having me.
I think now we're going to head on over to meteorologist Amy Aronson with a check of our Fleet Week forecast. Amy.
Yeah, beautiful start to the weekend here. Sunshine shining down on Fells Point right now. You can see a big ship in the distance. Lots of folks out and about running, jogging, walking, enjoying the farmers market here in Fells Point. But today is also the peak of the Atlantic hurricane season. So it peaks on September 10th, which is today. And we do have some activity to let you know about. We've got Hurricane Earl out in the tropics, Category 2 hurricane. So actually a beast of a storm. Fortunately, it is traveling away from us. Now, is still causing a few issues for us along the shoreline in terms of rough surf, some rip currents, and even some coastal flooding issues. We've also got a weather maker coming in from the south and from the west. See that cold front out towards Minneapolis? That's heading our way. Plus, we've got that area of low pressure along the Gulf Coast and a lot of moisture with it. That's currently pushing, the moisture is pushing through the Carolinas and heading our way next. Right now, though, we're enjoying high pressure. That's going to help keep us dry, bright and sunny today before that rain arrives here late tonight and especially tomorrow. Future scan shows the timeline of this. It does show clouds increasing throughout the day today. By this evening, turning overcast, but staying rain-free. It's late tonight that we see a few sprinkles push in. And by this time tomorrow, here comes that slug of rain. Tomorrow, yeah, not as pretty. I don't think Fells Point is going to be as busy because we've got showers on and off starting in the morning, taking us through the afternoon and the evening. It's going to be in an umbrella and rain jacket kind of day if you are going to be out and about doing anything. So Sunday's soggy, actually a great day to watch the Ravens game tomorrow afternoon. Monday, more of the same, more unsettled as this weather maker actually pushes through. The clouds are here to stay, along with a chance for showers that will take us through Monday afternoon, Monday evening, right into Tuesday. Right now, the fog is finally starting to clear up in Towson. That's good news there, improving visibility as that sun breaks through. Temperatures are off to a pleasant start still, mid-60s, low 70s, upper 50s in Columbia to get your Saturday started. If you plan to come join me down here in Fells Point, what a beautiful morning. Sunshine to start, increasing clouds this afternoon. It ends up being a warm and summery day with highs ending up in the very nice low 80s. And then tonight at Camping Yards, this evening, actually, with that first pitch happening at 5:05, going to be great evening for a little bit of baseball. I think at that point, the clouds are here, but temperatures should stay nice and comfortable, starting in the upper 70s and ending in the mid 70s as that game wraps up. Quick look ahead at your 7-day forecast shows shower storm chances increasing Sunday into Monday. Weather makers should wrap up, get out of here come Tuesday. And after that, the rest of the week looks better. We welcome back more sunshine, and temperatures are going to feel actually where they should be, kind of early September-like, with highs in the very pleasant low 80s each day. But I also want to point out the overnight lows. That's our taste of fall. Each night it's going to get a little cool with lows dipping into the low 60s. Rebecca, we are just soaking up the sunshine right now. Soaking it up, it feels warmer than it actually is. It's a nice day out here. Hopefully everybody has a chance to enjoy it outside.
Very nice. Happy to see the sun coming out. Thanks, Amy. It's been 20 years since NFL player Corey Stringer died from a heat stroke, but a collaborative effort from his widow has helped hundreds of other elite athletes avoid the same fate. Spotlight on America, Dwayne Pullman spoke to his widow, a sports agent, and NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell to reveal how it all came together.
In a corner office of a high-rise,
it's Jimmy.
Jimmy Gould is working the phones.
We'll revert to the practice squad in Cincinnati.
Surrounded by icons and images of power and success.
I hate losing more than I like winning. And when you hate losing as much as I do, you have to find what's the lesson.
And one of Jimmy's most painful lessons began with a tragic loss 2 decades ago. Corey Stringer was the first client Jimmy signed as a sports agent. On August 1st, 2001, in sweltering heat, Stringer, an all-pro with the Minnesota Vikings, practiced in full gear and suffered a heat stroke, dying at the age of 27.
Corey was special to me on a level that very few can measure up to.
So you lost a friend?
I lost a dear friend.
Kelsey Stringer lost a husband.
There are times when I just really think, what would life be like now?
Kelsey was all alone to raise their son, Cody, who was just 3 years old. This is Cody now. He's 24 and did not follow in his father's footsteps.
So you're not a football player?
Oh, absolutely not. Mm-mm.
After he died, Kelsey says her husband continued guiding her.
So his thing would always be, what are you going to do? What are you going to do about it?
Doing something, Kelsey decided, meant suing the Vikings and the NFL, in part to fund a center to prevent other players from dying in the heat. She turned to Jimmy to join her fight.
I get put in situations where there are battles all the time.
So Jimmy joined Kelsey's battle, convincing Bengals owner Mike Brown, the Cowboys' Jerry Jones, and then owner of the LA Rams, Chip Rosenblum, to support the quest for a center to prevent heat-related injuries and death. Then Roger Goodell became commissioner, and he pushed to settle Kelsey's lawsuit and fund that center.
Why did you do that?
Kelsey, Jimmy, they both said, we want to do something really impactful. It's going to change lives and save lives, ultimately. And to me, that's what we needed.
And that's how the Corey Stringer Institute, or KSI, was born, a research and advocacy center at the University of Connecticut. In 12 years, KSI got the NFL to eliminate two-a-days and help mandate heat indexes, athletic trainers, and ice tubs, all to stop heat strokes before they start.
How proud of that are you?
Well, I am proud of that, but I am also proud of Kelsey and Jimmy and so many others. If we can all come together and just make it better for everyone, it's a good place to be.
The tragic death of Corey Stringer has fueled a center and a movement that's now changed the game, making the NFL a safer place to play and saving countless lives along the way. Thanks to a courageous widow, a change agent, and a commissioner who cared.
And I really, truly believe that we have saved lives.
For Spotlight on America, I'm Dwayne Pullman.
Don't go anywhere. Stay with Fox 45 Morning News. After the break, meteorologist Amy Aronson has a look at your exclusive 7-day forecast. Welcome back. While I have been stuck in the studio, our Amy Aronson has been outside having all the fun for Fleet Week here in Fells Point, and it looks like the sun is really starting to shine there.
It sure is. But now you can come and join me because we're almost done here, right? The sun is shining down on the water in Fells Point. It's a beautiful morning. Not only is Fleet Week happening, there's a farmer's market underway. As you can see behind me here, there's actually some yoga that's about to get started. So just a beautiful morning. Today's the pick of the weekend for whatever you want to do outside. Low 80s today with mostly sunny skies through most of the day, and then clouds increase this afternoon, this evening. Tomorrow, not as nice. Not only are we tracking showers starting in the morning now, showers and storms through the afternoon. Plus, it's much cooler with temperatures in the mid-70s. That rain lingers Monday into Tuesday and then drier for the rest of the week.
Thank
Rebecca?
you, Amy, and thank you everyone at home for watching. Have a great rest of your Saturday.